What's going on, guys? On today's episode, we're gonna head back to this location. You might remember it. I said that I was gonna come back here at low tide, at sunset at some point, and that time is now. But first, today's episode is sponsored by Squarespace.com. If you're looking for a place to house your travel photography website, blog, or maybe sell some prints, Squarespace has a lot of really beautiful templates that make creating a professional looking website really, really easy. So head to squarespace.com/Brendan Vanson and you'll get a discount on your first purchase. Now, exciting news, right, Jody? Our mortgage is approved. It turns out that it was stupid. It was something totally stupid, and it's a long story, and sometime I'll tell you, but it's solved now. We'll be moving into our place hopefully next week, and I'm excited about it. I'm gonna miss this view, but I'm excited about it, and right now I'm excited to head to Albandera Beach and do some landscape photography. Landscape photography, my dream job, and something I think I'm pretty good at, most of the time. But like an athlete in a big game, sometimes we just don't have it. And I don't know it yet, but today's gonna be one of those days. I mentioned this a couple of videos ago that it's busy in the Algarve. Honestly, it feels just as busy as last July. The only difference is there's no Brits here. It's tons of Spanish, tons of French tourists, tons of Dutch and Belgian tourists, just no Brits. So it is full on busy. I had to park a half a kilometer up from where I wanted to go, and I'm now walking down the road. What's up, guys? Hello. Spaniards. It's always Spaniards. License plates: Portugal, Spain, Portugal, Spain, France. Normally people go far on their holidays, but with what's going on in the world, they're kind of just going places that they can drive. So going to places like the Algarve, for example, that has really low numbers of cases, feels super safe and also awesome. So there's a lot of road trippers down here, and like I said, it's just as busy. I'm kind of hoping it's not crazy busy at this beach, but judging by the amount of cars on the way in, I think it will be. There's also tons and tons of camper vans. And if you're the van life type of person, I don't think there's anywhere better in the world than the Algarve for that. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of places to park overnight. They're very relaxed about that. It's busy in the Algarve, and I actually am so happy about it. It means that the local businesses are definitely doing okay this summer despite everything happening. So if you remembered last time, I photographed from up here, and then afterwards I went down and found that there's a tunnel to get to the beach just below me down here. Right now the tide's still up and the water is blocking it. The only way to get in is to swim or snorkel, which I've seen some people have done. But low tide's right at sunset, so I think the tide should be low enough for me to get in maybe 15-20 minutes. So I'm gonna just hang out, enjoy these views, and then get through this tunnel and find a photo. These views, am I right? I mean, landscape photography should be easy to place this beautiful. The images should make themselves. But sometimes the most obviously photogenic places are the hardest to photograph. Okay, the tide's way out now already. It happened actually pretty quick. You can see the tunnel's just right here. It's gonna get me to the other side where it should have nice foreground for this arch. Okay, so when planning this out, I thought this was gonna be a super easy photo to make. I thought I'd just come down to the beach, find a cool foreground, and get a photo. It's definitely not the case. The tide's still going out, so I'm hoping some new rocks appear, but most of the rocks in the foreground are absolutely massive. They're way too big to be a foreground element, and it's just messy. It's absolutely messy. So I'm hoping the tide goes out low enough that some other rocks reveal themselves. It's also really tough because the sky is just blue. There was actually supposed to be clouds tonight, which is why I came out, but I don't see any clouds. But I do think that the way the light is kind of hitting everything on the side, there might be the potential for some long exposure minimalist stuff in black and white. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I think I'm going to probably put on my 70 to 200. Minimalism, the art of simplification. Also minimalism, the complication of attempting simplicity. I struggle with minimalism in all aspects of life, but yet I'm so drawn to it. Okay, so the way I'm making this photo is a little bit unconventional. I have all sorts of filters on. I have a 10-stop ND to really slow down the shutter. I have a reverse grad ND filter on, and the reason for that is because it's really bright in the bottom and then the top of the arch is actually quite dark. So I just tried that and it seems to be working. And then I also have a polarizer on to kind of cut out some of the reflection on the water. Then I'm at f8, 30 seconds, and ISO 200. And the reason I'm at ISO 200 is because I didn't want to go to 60 seconds. And let's take the picture. The photo just finished. Ooh, and it's way underexposed. Way underexposed. Let's try again. Okay, updated version's just done. And yeah, actually, I think that kind of works. I might do some editing on it, but I think this actually definitely kind of works. Here's the black and white image. But I actually think I prefer the color version. I mean, look at that light reflecting off the water. Totally different from what I normally do, but in a good way. So I think I'm gonna continue trying to do some minimalist stuff, maybe without sky at all. And then once the sun comes down, we'll do some wider stuff. I love, love, love minimalism, and I love black and white photography, but unfortunately for me, I'm pretty bad at both of them. So I've switched on my ultra wide 15 to 35, and I'm gonna search around for a much wider composition. We have these really calm seas, and out of nowhere just a massive swell just came in and just washed right over me. But the gear luckily only has a little bit of salt water on it. The composition I'm working on, once the water's calmed down a little bit again, is kind of unconventional. I usually have like rocks in the foreground, but in this composition I have like the rocks starting the foreground, almost like a cliff edge. It might be one of those things that I hate in the end, but right now it's, I think, working. I'm shooting f11 in 1.5 seconds, more or less. Okay, I think I finally got a composition that I'm okay with. It's still a battle with this light. I think I just need to wait until it gets darker. The sky's gone totally dead in color, but I've got 3 rocks in the foreground, always like 3 elements. It feels maybe like it's leaning a little bit because it's very dominant. The arch is very dominant, but I think this big rock on the right balances it. I'm shooting f11, 1 second, and just kind of trying to time some of these waves as they come through. Like this, just this little bit of water coming through makes all the difference. You need to wait until you get white water. That just adds the mood, that adds the mistiness to the photos. If you're just shooting long exposures with no change in color, the images kind of just come out a little bit boring. So you need that white water.
Your feet are on the dashboard, my eyes on the road.
The white water is key, especially when the skies are this dull. Essentially, I'm using the sea to compensate for the lack of clouds. I'm creating a foggy scene right on the water.
The sun is on the run, there's no turning back now. This love has just begun. And I've never been.
So if you guys have been following for a while, you know how much I obsess over the foreground, and that's one of the reasons I'm struggling so much today, is I just can't find the right foreground. Everything is just missing something. Although I think this might be the wave I'm waiting for. Yeah, I'm super particular about my foreground elements. I want things that lead the eye, and I want things that draw your eye right away, like an anchor to the image that your eye goes to and then follows through to the rest of the photo. And I've just been unable to find that. But one of the things that happens to me a lot is when I'm out in the field, I feel like I'm struggling to make the photo because I'm focused so much on the composition. And then when I get home, I feel like just cropping or playing with the image a little bit helps things out a little bit. So I'm hoping that's the case today.
It feels like getting older. It feels like getting older. With you is what I need.
Okay, I think I'm done with the photos. Some days you just have it and some days you don't. I will say that some of you are probably going to be a little bit jealous or mad at me, one of the two, because I just, out of boredom's sake, looked at photo pills, and it turns out that the Milky Way comes straight down over the arch tonight, and in about 4 or 5 hours from now, less than that even. But I'm super busy early tomorrow morning, so I can't even photograph it. A bit of a heartbreaker, but I'll come back another day. And officially, that's it for me on today's episode. I'll be back at it with some seascape photography. I'm going to talk all about filters on the next video, hopefully. And I'll see you there. Peace.